All right, welcome back to MGD 111. We're going to shift away from our adjustments right now, and we're going to learn a couple of the tools that we need to do things. We're going to learn the brush tool today. So, the brush tool should be about a third of the way down here. And again, there's several different options underneath it. There's the brush tool, pencil tool, color replacement tool, and mixer brush tool. We're only going to focus on the brush tool for now. The pencil tool, quite frankly, to me is sort of redundant and kind of an archaic tool. It doesn't really do anything that the brush tool can't. These other ones are a little more esoteric, so we're not going to worry about those. But when I click on the brush tool, my cursor looks like, well, this little dot. So what's it doing? Well, that dot is the size of the paintbrush that I'm using. Now, if we look at our control bar up here, this tells me how many pixels this brush is. If I click on this somewhere, on this little square, it allows me to do a couple different things. First of all, I'm going to make this brush a lot bigger. I'm going to make it, though, 75. And again, you can just punch in a number if you like, if you know how big you want it. And the cool thing is you can test it by just hovering out here, and you can see how big that brush is going to be. So let's just do that. So we've got our 75 brush. And to get out of this window, all you do is click somewhere. Now, don't click in the picture because it'll actually brush something on there. I always click in the title bar of the picture to get out of it. So what does the brush do? Well, in its most basic function, I can draw with it. Now, why did it put that big thing of red, and why is it sort of fuzzy on the edge? Well, a couple questions. First of all, the brush generally uses your foreground color. Remember, we looked at how to select a foreground color earlier. Well, guess what? Now we're actually using it. Now, why is that brush kind of fuzzy, like an airbrush device? Well, let's take a look at our brush again. I'm going to hit Command-Z here to get out of that, by the way. Get rid of that line. Let's click on our brush again. You'll notice there's another setting here. There's the size and there's the hardness of the brush. I'm going to set the hardness to 100% and watch what happens. Now we got this really solid brush here. Interesting, huh? So we can go anywhere from a thick, round brush that fills the entire space, or we can go to, if we change the hardness, something in between that has a softer edge on it. Pretty cool, isn't it? And you'll find yourself using both. Generally, I don't really use much other than either the 100% or the 0%. It's just kind of the way it works for me. The other thing we can do too is, see this weird looking symbol here? What the heck is that? Well, if I grab the circles on this and pull down, it becomes an oval. Huh, interesting. I'm going to change my hardness back to 100% here. What's it going to do? Well, my brush is now an oval. If you've ever done calligraphy before, you know what a chisel point pen will do. Notice how when I move it sideways, it gets thin. When I move it up and down, it gives me a nice fat line. Pretty cool, huh? So you can create custom brushes by using this. The other thing we can do too is if we squish this little arrow allows us to tilt the brush. So now, woo! Now we're starting to get a calligraphy look to this picture, huh? Pretty neat. That used to be a much more difficult thing to do in older versions of Photoshop. So I'm just going to set this back to where it was. Now we can also, if we decide we have a brush that we like, let's say we like the 75 pixel, 100% hardness brush. If we click on this little thing that looks like a post-it note here, we get this menu that allows us to save this brush preset. And it's going to call it Hard Round 75 because it's a 75 pixel. It's the hardness is 100%. And it's round. It doesn't use any of the features there. And if I click OK, that's now going to show up as a preset down here. You may have noticed I have one here for 9. I told you I'm a cartoonist. I do a lot of my cartoons where I scan my art into the computer, and then I occasionally have to go in and fill in some lines and dots and things. And the lines that I use when I scan them the way I do, a 9-pixel brush mimics my lines pretty well. So that's kind of a cool thing. So anyway, a lot of the features in Photoshop use these same brush settings. Your rubber stamp tool, your erase tool, several others are going to use that. So I just wanted to make you aware of that particular feature. We're going to take a look at some of those tools here in just a second too. So undo what you've done there, and I'm going to pause here and we'll continue with some more tools.